What's up, Pack Nation? It is Pack here. Today I'm talking about All-Star snubs. Which players in NBA 2K20 are snubbed from the All-Star game according to the game. How I figured this out is that I got players that had a higher rating than the lowest All-Star pick and decided, hey, apparently rating-wise, they were better than the worst player on the All-Star team in their conference, so that means that they should have made it above them. And then I argue yes or no of whether or not they should have made the team at all. Now, to make this video, I do feel that I need to argue or state what an all-star really is. What is an all-star? Now, I was going to say it is the best players on the best team. They go into the all-star game. I used to believe that was what it was. But then Trae Young became a starter for the All-Star game, and he has the second worst record in the NBA straight up. So that means that even if you're doing amazing and your team is doing terrible, it doesn't matter, because as long as you are doing amazing, you deserve to be an All-Star. That is the requirement here. So I will not talk about team records, because technically it does not matter, apparently. So that's the case that I'm making in this video. Players that have ratings, the rating in 2K means how good you are. So if your rating is above someone else's, that means that you're better than them, which means you should be an all-star, probably. And I'll discuss that in this video. There are 12 players. Let's get this video started. At number 12 with Nikola Vucevic, who is an 85 overall. Domantas Sabonis made the All-Star game. He's an 84 overall. He's also from the Eastern Conference. They're also considered forwards in the voting process. It's only forwards or guards. So, Nikola Vucevic, 85 overall, while Sabonis was an 84 overall. Nikola Vucevic averages 18.7 points per game on 11 rebounds a game, almost 4 assists, a steal, a block a game on decent efficiency. Maybe not the best for a center, but it's good enough. Now, he is leading the Magic's in a playoff situation. Right now, he's the best player on that kind of team. He is actually very solid. He's consistent, but he has missed 10 games this season, and I feel like they have been looking at, if you miss a lot of games, they don't really look at you the same. And statistically, he is worse than Sabonis. He is. That being said, Sabonis also isn't the best player on his team, not even the second best player, because Oladipo's back. So that's kind of like a big situation. I think if you really wanted to push Vucevic making the All-Star game, you could. But I think that because Sabonis is just a little better than him, I would say Sabonis deserves it more than Vucevic. Now, at number 11, it is Jaylen Brown, the third best player on the Celtics. I'm trying to argue should have been in the All-Star game. Let's talk about that. He is a guard in the East. The next best guard in the East was Kyle Lowry, who was also an 85 overall. They were both 85 overalls. The difference is Kyle Lowry is the second best player on his team, while Jaylen Brown is the third best player. But Jaylen Brown has been very consistent this year, even more consistent than Jason Tatum. He's had a career season, 20.4 points per game. Last year he was averaging 13. He got signed a big contract and did good anyways. 7 rebounds, almost 2.3 assists on fantastic field goal percentage. He has been playing very well for the Celtics. And he's statistically better than Kyle Lowry. So a lot of things are going for him. There's not a lot of things that I can argue against. The only thing I can really see here that is like a negative is that Jaylen Brown is the third best player on his team. And usually 3 people, not that often, go to the All-Star game on the same team. Like, it's very rare for that kind of stuff to happen. So because of that, I don't think he'd make it, or he deserved to make it. I think that it's hard to pick between Kyle Lowry and Jaylen Brown. I would have personally picked Jaylen Brown over Kyle Lowry, by like a hair, but I think it is a big debate, and I think it's close. At number 10, it is Andre Drummond, who would be considered a forward in the East, 86 overall, while Sabonis is an 84. So then Andre Drummond is 2 overall better than Sabonis, and that he should be able to make the All-Star game. He is snubbed according to 2K. Now, as you know, Andre Drummond is the best rebounder in the NBA with 6 rebounds a game, almost 2 blocks, 2 steals, good field goal percentage, 17 points per game. The team may not be winning, but that doesn't matter. But here's the thing, Andre Drummond is not the offensive force of this team. It is Derrick Rose. He's the one that's been leading this team, and then when Blake Griffin was healthy, he was also the offensive force over Andre Drummond. He doesn't have the most exciting game. He's not really that fun to watch. and I think that that's why he's not really getting this push to become an all-star. I wouldn't say he's really worse than Sabonis at all, so that's kind of the argument you can make. That, I mean, he's not worse than Sabonis. He really isn't. He's a good defender. He rebounds just like Sabonis. He scores just like Sabonis. But I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to say records because they're not supposed to matter, but for whatever reason, when it's that close to two players, I guess they're saying that Sabonis is in the playoffs and Drummond isn't, so that's why they're saying it. I would still pick Sabonis over Drummond too, to be honest, but it is close. At number 9, it is Zach LaVine, the Fiend. Now, Zach LaVine is an 86 overall guard from the East, and there's a lot of things going for this dude. 25 points a game, almost 5 rebounds, 4 assists, pretty good field goal percentage, especially for a guard, good 3-point field goal percentage, 1.4 steals. He's been having a fantastic year and even trying to push him into a playoff spot. He's leading this team with a team that doesn't have like a ridiculous amount of talent either, let's be fair. And he's been trying to push him to the playoffs. Like he's really, really good this year. I gotta be honest with you. He's kind of having a similar situation like Brandon Ingram with the Pelicans. If Ingram made it to the All-Star game, I don't see why I can't add Zach LaVine into the All-Star game. I get that Kyle Lowry is good and he's an 85 overall, but I think that Zach LaVine could make the argument to also be in the game instead of him. I think it's close. At number 8, it is Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is an 86 overall from the East. He is a forward. And the thing that I'm trying to like get going for him is that Tobias Harris did really step up when Joel Embiid was injured. Like he stepped up and helped Ben Simmons win some games. 19.3 points per game is a little worse than last year, but still good. 6.7 rebounds, 2.9 assists, almost a steal, almost a block a game on good efficiency. Would I put him above Sabonis? Not really. Not only that, I believe that they're pretty close talent-wise and statistically, but Tobias Harris is the 3rd best player on this team. Sabonis is technically the 3rd best player, but he's been the 2nd best player for most of the year, so I think they just gave it to Sabonis barely. Yeah, that's really like the only thing I see going for this. I wouldn't have put Tobias Harris, but I think it was close. At number 7, it is DeMarvelous DeFrozen. My Spurs have been frustrating to watch this year, but DeMar DeRozan has not been the reason they have been frustrating. He has been fantastic. People have been saying that we should trade him and all stuff. They've been wrong. I understand that he doesn't have a 3-point game, but he has been fantastic this year. I mean, just looking at the stats alone, 23 points a game, which is better than most years, except for that one year with Toronto. His field goal percentage is a career best of 54%, which is ridiculous. Not good 3-point field goal percentage, but whatever. 5.2 assists a game, 5.6 rebounds, a steal. He has been playing very, very well. He has the same rating as Brandon Ingram, and then that's where this stops. Do you put him above Brandon Ingram? And then even lately, he's been playing very well, but still, do you put him above Brandon Ingram? That's the hard question. They're similarly good teams. Brandon Ingram's also the 86 overall. He's averaging 25 a game with similar stats. Not as efficient, but still his 3-point field goal percentage is way better. That's tough, man. I get that I love DeRozan and I want to push for him, but Brandon Ingram's also had himself a fantastic season, and I know this is like wrong to say as a Spurs fan, but Ingram maybe deserves it a little bit more. And I think that's why I can't push it enough. But to be honest with you, I think that DeMar DeRozan maybe deserves it more than Chris Paul, but we'll talk about that more in a second. But still, I mean, it's close, but I don't think he would have gotten it this year, and I don't think he's really been snubbed. At number 6, it is Hassan Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside's an 87 overall, and I know you're probably like, whoa, what? Hassan Whiteside? He's actually been very good this year. I don't know why so many people were surprised he did so well with against the Lakers this year for honoring Kobe in that game. He actually did very, very well, and everyone was surprised. But he's been doing this all year, boys. 16 points a game, 14 rebounds, 3 blocks a game on 61% field goal percentage. Ignore the 3-point field goal percentage, he doesn't shoot those. I mean, he's been insane this year, and I know that they're losing, and that doesn't matter in this case, but he has been fantastic. He really, really has. He's really learned his role on this team. 2nd best player on this team at the moment pretty easily. The only people that you can put him above, maybe, and I'm talking about maybe, is Brandon Ingram and Rudy Gobert, but I really wouldn't, because Brandon Ingram I feel deserves it more, and Rudy Gobert, he also puts up those kind of stats. Again, when it's that close, you have to give it to the team that's winning, and so that's why you give it to Rudy Gobert in this instance. But Hassan Whiteside, you could have tried to make an argument this year, but he didn't make it this year. Now, for the Phoenix Suns at number 5, it is Devin Booker. This is the one that a lot of people were outraged with, and I only have him at number 5, which probably outrages you too, but let's talk about why. He is a guard, 87 overall, 27 points per game, which is insane, 4 rebounds, 6.4 assists on fantastic field goal percentage. Again, kind of a similar situation with DeMar DeRozan and also Brandon Ingram. These are players that are putting up good numbers. They may not be winning, but it doesn't matter because they're putting up good numbers. at the same, this is kind of the same thing I have with DeMar DeRozan. That's nice that you're putting up these numbers. The question is, do you pick him or do you pick Brandon Ingram? And that's the thing. Statistically, looking at this, I'd pick Devin Booker, just statistically. I think he could be an all-star over CP3 also, to be completely honest with you. I think he's playing better than DeMar DeRozan. He's playing better than Brandon Ingram, just barely. I understand the Pelicans have a better record slightly and that they're barely winning more, but it's just barely. I think that you could really push Devin Booker to be an all-star pretty easily, and I think I would have picked him over not only Brandon Ingram, I think I would have picked him over CP3 as well. At number 4, it is Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's an 88 overall who was not on the All-Star team in the East as a guard. Are you kidding me? The starter on the All-Star game is an 88 overall, which is Kemba Walker. Think about that. But here's the problem. You can't put him above Jimmy Butler because he's an 89 overall. You can't put him above Chris Middleton because, I mean, you just can't. Records don't matter, and statistically, he's been playing much better than Chris Middleton. But it's hard to not put Chris Middleton in there. But again, if Trae Young is on the team, I feel like you have to add Bradley Beal too because he's doing the same kind of thing as Trae Young. So it's tough. I say there's no problem putting him over Kyle Lowry for sure. That's just my opinion. Like, definitely above Kyle Lowry, I think for sure. So I think he should have made it for sure 100% over Kyle Lowry. At number 3, it is Kyrie Irving, 91 overall, but I'm going to completely shut this one down. I understand that he's a 91 overall. He's fantastic in the East. He has played like 20 games this year. He's not going to be an all-star when you're barely playing, either hurt or just miscellaneous reasons. No, I understand that you're playing 27.4 points per game. Great stats, pretty good, really good efficiency. It doesn't matter. You're not playing often. It's a small sample size. They're not going to put you in the all-star game. This is not going to happen. At number 2, it is Karl Anthony Towns. This one is not as simple. Now, he has missed some games, but not enough to where I think it matters that much. He's still the best player on his team, 91 overall, 27 points per game, almost 11 rebounds, 1.2 blocks on ridiculous efficiency, and a good three-point shooter. All-round fantastic NBA player, and he is not the reason this team is losing. He has been fantastic, and I even think he's a better defender than usual. So, all that being said, the only person that, when you look at the team, is Ingram and Gobert. Statistically, and I know I keep going back to that, he is better than Brandon Ingram. He's also better than Rudy Gobert. I get why they wouldn't try to put him over Rudy Gobert because that team's been winning, and again, when it's close, and even then, is it really that close? Rudy Gobert is a way better rebounder, defender than Karl Anthony Towns, so it is close between them. But it's not close between him and Brandon Ingram. They are both forwards. I believe that Karl Anthony Towns should have made it over Brandon Ingram. And finally, at number 1, it is Paul George. 91 overall. It says 92, but he's a 91 overall. This is just start today. For the West, a guard. He has missed a lot of games. Actually, I can pull it up right now. He's only played 28 games. Kind of a similar situation with Kyrie Irving. 22.8 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. And because he's missed so many games, it's kind of tough. I mean, Kawhi's missed a lot of games too, right? Kawhi's missed, and not as much as Paul George. I think that one's close. He hasn't missed as many games as Kyrie, but he's still missed a lot of games. Obviously, there's players like Chris Paul and also Brandon Ingram that you could put over him, but at the same time, Paul George needs to play more games. His team's been winning without him, and with him, it's tough. It's one of those, it's like you could, but because he's missed so many games, they're not going to put him into the All-Star game. So that's another one I don't think so. So the only ones I think that are really snubbed is Karl Anthony Towns, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and maybe like Zach LaVine, and that's like it. But what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like my channel, give it a sub, and I'll see you guys next time.